Hi everybody. Well, today we're going to finish this blanket. Do you remember when it looked like this? Just small flowers, and I hadn't done any of the joining of them. This is a long video, about 31 minutes, so either sit back or divide it in half. All right, here we go. This is where we ended on the last Wildflower blankie video. I want to talk for just a second about this corner flower. I've done two of these. And I thought I was making a half flower because I started out with 6 posts in my middle, my center of my flower. And since there's 12 in a whole flower, I thought if I started with 6, I would get a half flower. But of course, they're not joined together out here. And so these are the two ends. So it really limits, this outside border limits what I end up with. So I ended up with only 5 openings instead of 6 to put my double crochets in, my pairs. And so I ended up with 5 of them, which means I ended up with only 4 peaks. Does that make sense? And really, that's what you're looking at, is how many little points you have to attach to the flowers here in the corner, or along the side here, which will have to be something bigger. If a half of a flower only works for a corner, I'm going to need something bigger to go here and fill in this space. And I'm really going to have to ponder what will give me 6 points, but not have any extra points out here. Okay, I want it to be fairly flat. Now I'm really going to have to work with my my border when I put it in here. I won't have to have anything in here, but I'm going to have to work. Oh, sorry, the dogs are dashing around. Anyway, I thought I would show you that. And for those of you who are trying this, just remember, if you want it to look like this, on the corner, you go ahead and do 6 posts. And I did, my center ring was only 4 chains. And then I did my little loop, okay, instead of doing 6. I thought that would be too big. So I did 4. And then I did 6 double crochets here. And then I went back and did my pairs in my openings. So I ended up with 5. And then 4 points. And of course, I actually constructed those points as I attached them here. Okay, so I'm going to do the other 2. Boy, the cat and the dog are lively this morning. Leo almost slid off his table. I'm going to go ahead and finish up my 4 corners, and then I'm going to work on how I want to do these sections here. I have pulled up photos of this same blanket on Google and zoomed in on the images, and it really looks like people just kind of do whatever they feel like they can make work. I didn't see any consistent, brilliant, amazing way to do this border around the outside. So I will be feeling my way, it seems like everybody else. Okay, so there is a corner, and I hope that that helps. Let me zoom in on it a little bit here at the end so you can really get a good look at it. There it is. 6, 5, and 4 points. Okay, I finished my final corner piece, and I want to talk a little bit of very light math here. Don't be scared, because I've got to figure out what kind of partial flower goes here on the side. Now up here, I needed a flower that had 4 points to match the 4 points. Boom, 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 boom. So I ended up with 4 points, which means I needed 5 pairs of legs here. And that meant I needed 6 single crochets here. So down here, I need a flower that has 6 points, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So if it has 6 points, it needs to have 7 openings here, or seven, excuse me, 7 pairs of legs. And that means I need to have 8 triple crochets here. So I need a flower with 8, that starts with 8 triple crochets, which is 2/3 of a flower, 2/3 of a whole flower, because these whole flowers start with 12, and I'm going to start with 8 in the middle. And so that's 2/3 of a flower, which hopefully will bring this together nicely. Let's see if that works. Okay, here's my first half or side flower. Now, this is just so fascinating. This is 3/4, no, this is 2/3 of a whole flower, okay, because I started with 8 triple crochets in the middle. But because it doesn't have the tension pulling it all the way around, it kind of collapses to about half a flower. So it really works. Now notice that there are 2 openings here, 2 openings here, and 2 openings down here to correspond to the points on these 3. And now I'm going to go around in a nice yellow, which will brighten up this space, and connect it here. And I should have a nice, pretty straight line. The border I'm going to put in later, which will be probably 2 or 3 rows of crochet around the edge, will really tighten everything up and just make the whole blanket pop. And I can't wait to do that. I'll probably do that in yellow, and I'm really excited about that. Okie dokie. Look what we've got. We've got our top corner, and you can see how this will come down and connect to these 2 posts. And then look at my half flower. Doesn't that look great? And then this one will come out a bit. So this one will have 2 points. This one will have a long side. This one will have 2 points. And this one will go the border will go all the way around the top of that and then attach to these 2 points. All right, what I like about these partial flowers is they are so fast because they're smaller. Yeah, this is great. Okay, we're making progress. Good morning, everybody. Back in the studio, wearing those silly gloves so you know that I'm crocheting. I'm finishing up my breakfast, my coffee, my toast, my little egg. The hens are laying pretty well these days. And you know, I have some pretty old hens, and I am amazed that they are laying still as well as they do. I think I need to go check back on an old farm blog I had, but I think some of these hens are 4 to 5 years old, and they still lay like every other day. Anyway, so I wanted to show you, where am I now? This is the Wildflower blanket. I'm really liking it. And I've started on the border. I've decided to do 2 colors in the border. I'm going to do, I really, really love this barn red color. I always love this color. That and the teal are 2 of my favorites. This is maybe my favorite. I use it on a lot of stuff. I love it in weaving, especially like with a dark blue or a green. It makes wonderful Christmas colors. Anyway, that's the first, it's going to be the first 2 rounds of border. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me take those off. And then the outside last border will be this lovely soft pink, okay? Because this is a little blanket for my granddaughter, and so, and I know she and her mama love girly stuff and pink and that kind of thing, so I think that that'll be a great outside border with a little picot edging on it. Now, I'll bring you in close in a minute so you can see what I'm doing. There's really not a lot of rhyme or reason to it, I will say. But because this first round is really following the contours of the outside of the blanket. Now, as you will recall, 2 sides, the 2 short sides, have half flowers. See that half flower there? They have a corner, whole flower, half flower, whole flower, half flower. Those half flowers were filling in the empty spots. Okay, So that was my first move to get a somewhat, even horizontal line along that border. Now on the two long sides, it's just whole flowers. Okay, there's no partial flower in between, and so I've got a more significant dip there. And I think what I'm going to do, I've already done the first round of border. I think on the second round, I'm going to see what it looks like, and I can pull it out if I don't like it. I'm going to try to start filling this in, and so I'm going to come across and not like a half crochet here, and expand to probably a double or triple crochet here to even that off on those two edges. And then when I go to do the pink picot, it'll be, pretty much a straight border all the way around. So let me bring you in closer just a little bit. I'll move my coffee and put you over here on this nice little table. I'm taking it easy today. Yesterday was a lovely day, but it was a very busy day, and I kind of wore myself out, as it's very easy to do as you get into your 60s. Easy to wear yourself out. We've all got little health concerns that tend to make us crash. So today I've got some shampoo bars that are drying over there. When not doing video, I have the fan on them to help them cure out. And so I've got them drying. I've patched up some soap this week, got it all packaged up and ready to go to the market. Been doing a lot of painting of cards, and if I have just a second here, I might pop a couple of images up there. These are just taken on my phone, so they're not very high quality. But here's some of the cards I painted this week because I needed more at the market. Okay, well, let's look at some crochet. All right. Okay, now I will say, as you go around doing this border, you're going to come upon all different kinds of stitches. You're going to come upon long, tall triple crochets, and I was pretty much doing 3 single crochets in across one of those, and one in the center here. And like when you're going across these half flowers, that's pretty much what you have. You have a tall triple crochet and a tall triple crochet, and then the center, and then back out. And then you'll have in between patches like this. And it can be tempting to put a lot of crochets in there, or when you're doing the other end and you're doing around the flowers, it's tempting to want to just put one border crochet in every one of those stitches. But if you do that, you're going to get a good bit of puckering. I've even got some here. That outside border is going to really crimp together. And I will say that when I decided to do the border, in order to make it easier on my hands and to give me a nice, see, like this, I feel like this is way too crinkly. And I'll probably try to cinch that up some when I do my next round. I did go up to an I hook. I think before I had an H. Hello, Leo. Leo's making little kitty cat noises. Hey, sweetie. He wants attention. Only for a minute, though. So I realized going up to a bigger hook that I was going to need to not do every single stitch. But the thing is, you also don't want to do every other stitch. That's not a good idea, or it will pull it in too much. So it's kind of your own call. Where am I on this? Goodness me. I've lost my place. It's very easy. It's a confusion of flowers. Anyway, when I get to one of these tips, I generally will put 2 stitches in the end of that. Now, as you recall, there were 3 chains in here. I never put 3. I only put 2 in the top of that. Occasionally, I'll just put 1. If I have some really big, wide stitches down here, I might do 1 on top of each one. But if the stitches down here get tight and small, I'll skip 1. Actually, I do that quite often. I'm probably doing about a stitch and a half to every 2 stitches kind of thing. I'm skipping every maybe 3rd stitch up here. See, like here's a really big, that's a very big stitch. I'd certainly put 1 in there. But as you get up closer to this peak, I will certainly skip one of those and might even skip one down here. But the goal is to keep these little peaks from flipping over like that, to keep them out, okay? And eventually you really have to have a border row that has just a little bit of tension on it in order for that to happen, for it not to flip over. So as I go along on the second row, I'm almost done with this one. I've just got a handful of flowers to go till I get back to this corner where I started. At the corners, you do want, like I started with one, but I'll probably put 2 or maybe even 3 more here before I join it up to get around that corner so it doesn't pull the corner in. You don't want it to have any tension on there. So I'll keep you abreast of this as I go along in the next day or two. And I'm going to see my daughter and my granddaughter next month. And I do want to have this blanket finished by then so I can take it with me. So, and put it on her bed. Maybe that would be a great photo to share with you with it laid out on a bed or a couch or something at her house. All right, so we're going to continue along with this. And I don't think I can zoom in on this. Can I zoom in? No, it doesn't let me. But I'm going to try to do a little bit of this close up where you can see it. Now see, I'm in between 2 peaks here, and what I tend to do is skip that bottom stitch down there. See what I did there? And it kind of pulls them together and evens that out. I'll do one there, maybe one on the other side, skip one and go down. And I do try to, I don't pull these stitches tight. I really try to keep them fairly big. I did all those in there, so I may just put one here. And it will all depend on the kind of look you like. If you like a kind of a ruffly look on the outside, then you might want to do every single stitch. If the stitches are real big, like I said down here, I'll go ahead and do every one. That's how they are right along here. You want to do that. That one was particularly big. See how big that one was? I'm going to go over here. I'm going to skip all the way over. I'm going to skip whatever that was in the middle and go to this one. And give that one a little bit of, kind of pull that up a bit. And then I'll skip one again. Do the next one. Go into that nice big hole. I think I'll just go on over here. But do a nice loose stitch. You see how that, even though I skipped quite a few in there, see how nicely that's laying? I really think that that is working well. So, and what I love about this one's a little finicky. I'm constantly making decisions about whether to skip a stitch or not. But what I love is that if I'm satisfied with this, when I go to my second round, I'll just do every stitch. It'll be nice and smooth. All right. Well, we'll work on this some more. And maybe I'll show you a nice laid out version of it when I get to the end of this this first border. I really love how a border like this just ties everything together. It's tempting to not put it on there, but I think it makes all the difference. So if you're kind of forgetting to skip any stitches, just ask yourself, have I skipped a stitch in the last like 3 stitches? And if you haven't, go ahead and skip one. I think it'll make it, this is Simply Soft yarn, and it is lovely and soft, but it is a little bit slippery to work with. I'm constantly pulling my needle out, or my hook out. Now you will occasionally come across strings that got tied here on the outside, and you want to lay those along your stitch edge and enclose them in the stitches as you go. Okay. And those are ones that you won't have to tie in later, because there will be enough of those on the back of this blanket, that's for sure. They don't like to lie down. You have to make them lie down. All right. So I'm still following the line of the flower, but it's slowly flattening out, and then we'll work on it more next time. Okay. I wanted to show you the first little dip I came across on one of those sides that has the deeper dips. I'm on the second row. You can see here what the second row is looking like coming around that corner. That's pretty good. And so what I did here was I think 4 or 5 double crochets here. I did single crochets coming across, and probably about right here 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. And I like how that looks. I think that's going to make it look really tidy, and it gives me a much better edge across the top for my last row of pink border that'll be coming up. So I'm in favor of this. I'll keep doing it. Might change my mind, but so far so good. I'm sitting here on the couch, yes, watching another chateau restoration video. I really like these. One of these days I'm going to go over them all, but I'm trying hard to finish up this wildflower blanket for my granddaughter, and I'm on the last edge row, the last border row. So let me show you what I'm up to. This is what it's looking like on the edge. I really like this. I'm going to show you how to do that picot in just a second. But this is what the 2 rows of mostly single crochet look like, followed by 1 row of the pink on top of it. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's going to tie it all up together. And I think that, you know how little children love to touch little nubby things? I think that she'll enjoy touching this on the edge. It is such a rainy day out there. I have some work to do. Hello, everybody. I have been negligent. I really wanted to put out a video. I wanted to put out this video yesterday. However, I had promised myself I would not put out a video, any other video, other than this blanket completed. I was not going to cave and put out some other little things. So, but I haven't finished it yet. So I'm going to work on it this afternoon. Now this morning I was so productive and I got so many things done, and I kind of wore myself out a little bit as per usual, but it is time to get after this blanket. I had a little sit on the couch, watched a little chateau video yet again, and now I'm going to well, if I can figure out what I'm doing, gonna get done with this. I am almost halfway around. Yes, almost halfway around. This is not hard. It's not challenging. I just need to sit down and do it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to turn you around and bring you in so you can see what I'm doing on this little picot border. It's very simple. I didn't even go back and look at how I've done it before because I was pretty sure I could remember. We all know how that goes. Okay, so let's look. Okay, so simple. So there are, between one bumpy picot and the other bumpy picot, there are 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I get to the 5th one, that's when I do the little picot bump. Okay, I've just rounded the corner. Now I did put a couple of extra stitches in a couple of these spots around the corner so that it wouldn't pull and be tight. Okay, so I'm going to do that right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I just did my 5th single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now don't cinch those chains up. Don't make them tight, because you're going to need to pass your hook through the bottom of that first stitch and then through this loop as well, okay, to kind of catch it. And then you're going to go, see, this is where that stitch was. You're going to go into the next stitch. Okay, so that's your number 1. Now let's do this again. Can you see? Hope I'm doing it right. Nope, this way. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, oh, there, 5. Okay, now let's look at this real carefully. There's my 5th stitch. Now do you see this little V here at the bottom? Down here, this little V, these 2 parts of this base stitch, those are the 2 you're going to go back and grab. Okay, so there they are down there. So you also don't want to cinch this up tight, is what I'm trying to say. So 1, 2, 3. And then you skip over those 3 and you go down to that base, to those 2 there. See? And then you pull it through. And then you also pull. Now I don't try to do this cleverly. I just use my finger. Okay. And so then I've done both of those, and now I'm going to go into the next stitch along my base. Okay. And it gives you that. Very nice. And boy, does that ever finish that off beautifully, I think. It really does finish it off well. Okay, I hope that's enough instruction on that to get you through. If it's not, let me know. Well, there you have it, the last little stitch. Now, I must say that there's a lot of tucking in to do of all these little loose threads, okay? But the blanket itself is finished, and I can do that very easily with a smaller crochet hook. I'll get a pretty small one so that it'll be easier to do. Sit around at night and do that when I'm sitting on the couch. That's a mindless job. I am going to wash it because I think that washing an acrylic blanket like this, knitted or crocheted, is good for getting the tension on all the strings even. Things feel very bunchy when you're done with them. Very knotty and bunchy, and it's nice to get it all smooth. I think that's what it does. It smooths it out. Let's go lay it on the bed and see what it looks like laid out. Well, there we go. See, in this position, it's easy to tuck these underneath so they don't show, and it almost looks like it's all the way finished. I really do think the border makes a lot of difference. See what I mean? Ties it all together. Now this is a full-size bed, and you can see this really is, it's almost like a crib blanket. So I don't intend for this to be something that's going to keep her warm in a twin-size bed all winter or anything like that. This is more to look pretty and be a throw. All right, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed this. I really did. I could see myself doing this again sometime when I'm not in quite so much of a time crunch, because I've finished this for one granddaughter. I also have a brand new pink baby blanket for another granddaughter that's going to be born later this year. And then I need to start, I think, a quilt for my oldest grandson, because I never did do him anything except for his baby blanket, I think. I'm pretty sure. So I've got some blankets to work on. But one of these days, I will be done with all these blankies, and I'll be able to make maybe something bigger in this same pattern. All right, let's look at the border as we go away. Thanks for joining me.